Welcome to the Sweet Spot Podcast, where we're all about helping players, coaches, and parents get the most out of the game. Whether you're stepping up to the plate, coaching from the dugout, or cheering from the stands, we got you covered with expert tips, strategies, and insights to make youth sports a better experience for everyone. Each episode, we'll share our own experiences and bring on special guests who will offer valuable advice on skill development, teamwork, and creating a positive environment for growth both on and off the field. So let's dive in and make the game even sweeter.
Play ball.
Welcome to another rendition of the Sweet Spot Podcast. We are once again here. FIU, baby. This is a sweet little location here. Guys behind us having practice, hitting on the field. If you hear some music in the background, we're having as much fun as they are on the field.
I was just dancing, by the way.
Yeah, we were just dancing. But I hope you enjoy this show. This is just us two. As you can see, we're wearing Sweet Spot gear. So we want to talk a little bit about where we're at in the process. First of all, we want to thank the audience. We've got a couple of shows under our belts, and I think we're doing. We're very happy with where we're at, and it's all thanks to the guys on the other side of the camera, the people that are watching what we're doing, and happy to bring this content over to you guys.
Hey, Junior. By the way, I've gotten some very good feedback on my end about everything that we've been doing, and it's been good.
Listen, so on top of thanking the audience, I want to go back and thank the guest. From day one, from Zach, his dad, Jeff, Mike. Lewis, Coach Whitten, Scott, all the guys that have joined the show from day one. Not only do we hope it's been inspiring to the audience, it's been inspiring to us. It's funny because I want to touch base on it. Some of the things that have come through the show, right? As we sit here and kind of change what we do on a daily basis, which is part of what the show is all about. Learning ourselves and adapting and trying to make the best experience for the kids as possible. It was funny because my wife comes up to me the other day and she goes, "Hey, you know what? I've been going to the girls' rooms every day, every morning, and their bed has been perfectly made, from every day that I've gone in there." So that's a tribute, I guess, to Joaquin and Zach. It means that the girls have been watching the show at least and learning and grabbing some of the good things. I also have, we also on the team wise.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, team wise, we created a Sweet Spot mindset for those of you guys that are out there watching. And it's those affirmations we give them every week to the boys, and it's the responsibility of the parents and the kids to say them out loud every morning.
I wonder
whether
if
it's
Jeff,
with prayer, whether it's with whatever it is.
I wonder if Jeff is doing it.
Yeah,
since
and
we had the
that
episode.
Yeah, we gotta touch base with Jeff, but that again goes to Jeff and Lewis as well. All the mental health stuff that we've been trying to adjust and adapt and make it a part of our routine as well. Back to the Jeff episode as well. My kids, I little by little gave them a little bit of creatine, and now every day they every morning they come to me and they're like,
their gummies.
Yeah,
every
they're like
morning,
"Hey, Dad, I haven't had, like, don't I get one?" So again, thank you to our guests, to all of them. They've definitely made a positive contribution, not only to the audience and we're great guests, but also to ourselves. So very, very happy and thankful for that.
On our end, aside from the gummies, I mean, I've been practicing the affirmations things with my kids for probably a good 2 years now, and it goes a long way. And I see how it's impacting them in such a positive way, and it's not because they're my kids, but they're very confident little boys. And it's translating for now with the older one, in Vito. He's in flag football and in soccer. It's a beautiful thing to see. He misses a shot or whatever, and he bounces right back. And one of his teammates is not playing well or what, and he goes in there and he's like, "Hey," he puts his arm around him. "Don't worry about it. We got the next play." Like, all of those little things will eventually transform him into that student athlete that hopefully he gets to be. And the same thing with your kids. And
yeah, absolutely. Another thing, the gratitude that we heard from Coach Whitten, right? That's been another big factor into everything we do. Sometimes, like he says, we always look at the other side and think the other side is brighter and greener, and it's not. You got to enjoy what you have,
which is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot more than what we give ourselves credit for, and we give.
And that goes for the adults as well,
yeah,
by the way.
Absolutely. Not only the kids. But again, with that being said, I wanted to touch base on where we're at on.
Give them an update.
Update on a baseball program, right? This is what we're doing is a road to Ripken. That's kind of how we started this. Ripken is in the summer, which is upon us. So we want to give an update on where we're at with the team. Growing from an organization perspective, right? Trying to give the kids everything possible, but how they've been playing on the field, right? And how that has kind of attributed to where we're at and where we're headed, and just kind of give some tips on some of the stuff that we've seen, so that maybe coaches out there, parents out there could kind of learn from our experiences as well. So a couple of weeks ago, we started on this trend. Everything was going pretty good, and then all of a sudden, team shot up, right? Like they number 1 seed in tournaments back to back, playing their hearts out. I think they unlocked a new level. Yeah, it was like a
time.
great baseball.
Yeah.
Defensively, pitching,
mentally,
it was like they were incredibly loose. I could have put them up probably against FIU if you let them, because I just believed in them so much. So unfortunately, in those tournaments, ended up losing in championship game. We lost to teams that have been together for a lot longer. But again, not everything's a loss. I would look at them, and we would look at them, and you could tell that they wanted more. They wanted to get over the hurdle. They wanted to get over the hump. So us and as an organization, we decided, you know what? I think the kids are ready for more. So we started trying to give them a little bit more of the mental side, more of things that they would see at the next level. Again, they're this particular age group that we're talking about, they're 10, 11 years old. But we decided, hey, let's give them stuff that they're going to see in high school, things that they're going to see in college. Let's prepare them for that level.
Really advanced stuff. And some of the things that we've been working on with them in practice is
a lot of advanced stuff, right? And we did it in terms of feeling that they were ready, right? And sometimes it happens that, when you make decisions thinking that it's going to work out, and it turns back on you, and it's really not the case, right? So,
and we told you guys from the beginning that we were embarking on a journey, and we were bringing you along, and we were going to be testing things out and doing our own, micro experiments and seeing what works, what doesn't. And this is one of those things that, so some of it has worked.
Yeah, we gave them a lot, but as we expected, it's whenever you're learning new things, you're exposed to things that you're not used to. It takes you a while to get used to it, right? And some of the things that happened with them, with the entire group, was they became a little robotic, right? They started thinking a little bit more because we're giving them more of that mental side, right? Like more of the stuff that they got to think through first, and eventually it's going to be second nature. But that whole entire process of what we're feeding them takes time, and it turned them a little robotic, where they weren't playing loose, they weren't playing free, and again,
they were thinking more instead of
exactly
playing.
So we understand that it's part of the process as coaches. But one of the things that we want to kind of instill is, hey, we're not going to give up on you, right? We're still
that's not gonna
inspire confidence. So how do we, as an organization, as a group, understand that, hey, this is part of the process? Just because you weren't successful after that because we're working on something doesn't mean that you're not good enough, right? So that's part of what we've been doing. Continue that basis of confidence, those affirmations that doesn't fall behind, and making sure that we understand as an organization that it's fine. Wins and losses don't represent where we want to go.
As long as the trajectory overall is upwards, we're
100%.
doing it right.
100%. So one of the things that we kind of have seen is all of a sudden they're in this like high, right? But they wanted it more, right? They knew that they were really, really close. They wanted to get over the hurdle. And again, once you start implementing different things, the kids are going to change, right? But it's a normal thing, and not necessarily when you want something and you think that it's if you're going to give them something that they're going to actually climb over the hurdle. Sometimes they go backwards, and it's just that roller coaster of a ride where it's going up and down, up and down.
And we
take two steps back.
As coaches, we make the adjustment and we have a feel for the team and the teams and the players, and we have to make the proper maneuvers in order to get them to where we know that they could be and where they want to be.
Yeah, we understand. It's not necessarily failure, right? It's not failure at all.
To me, there's no such thing as failure.
It doesn't exist.
If you learn the lesson, it's not a failure.
It doesn't exist. So then I'm pretty sure that happens to people out there, right? So, what are things, Coach, that you think we could teach the audience on whenever they're going through something like that?
First and foremost, patience. You got to be patient. Not everybody is going to be able to comprehend and process, internalize a concept that is foreign or not foreign. It's a novel, it's a new concept, especially at 10, 11 years old. We as adults fail at realizing that we're processing things as mature, and our brains are fully formed. Their brains are not. And the way that they express their emotions and the way that they express any type of frustration is completely different. So first and foremost, patience. And when you think you're being patient, be more patient.
Yeah.
Okay? And that goes for all of us, myself included, because I, again, have two boys. For you, and we've had this discussion, and I know it's very difficult, especially when you're coaching your own kid. And a lot of the people out there that may be watching this at some point or another have coached their kid or are currently coaching their kid, or they will inevitably coach their kid. And first and foremost, patience, man. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you're in a position like the one that we are, this is where we want to get them to, essentially, after high school, obviously. But this is where we want to get them to. And the only way to get them here is if they fall in love with the game. And Coach Whitten said it, and we're on the same page when it comes to that. Fall in love with the process. And that includes going 0 for 4, striking out, looking with men on third and second and 2 outs on a pitch down the middle that you were just flash photography. It happens. And even when those things take place, between the lines, you have to have a short-term memory, but that's something that's taught little by little. And it's, hey, you missed this play, or you missed this ground ball, or you missed the perfect pitch down the middle. Shake it off, because there's going to be another play, and there's going to be another at-bat, and there's going to be another game and another tournament. And at the end of the day, and something that you and I have discussed on numerous occasions, we don't only want to get them here as just athletes. We want to develop them mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because I'm not afraid to talk about that. And you got to have patience.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to tap into is that idea of wins and losses, right? What do they represent for each individual? What do they represent for an organization? What do they represent for the parents? And I think, when you look at this that I just finished covering, which is, hey, these kids were on a super excited high of like, hey, we're here, we're ready, we're confident, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
And they wanted it more. But then how do you, if something doesn't go right, how do you analyze it and interpret it in many ways, right? As a player, as a parent. And you start seeing that it's not just that continuous success, right? You don't get there. You go backwards. How do you continue to push How do you continue to interpret the situation and say, you know what? I just got to keep sticking to it. I got to keep working harder. It doesn't change. That consistency should never, ever, ever change. Just because you're in a high and now you want it even more should not be any different than when you're in a low and you're trying to get out of it and figure out ways to get out of it. You should be even more hungry to do that. And I think that's that. That's something that I wanted to touch on. Make sure that parents are sticking to the process. Coaches stick to the process. Players stick to the process. Everything is a process. Everything goes hand in hand. Like you said, there's no such thing as failure. But making sure that kids understand, hey, we need to continue to stay together, stay united. Let's help each other out. Let's figure out ways to get out of this. And I think that's that team bonding experience where, you look at your teammate and you know that you're going through the same pain. You're going through the same struggle, right? Or if there's somebody that's in a slump and you're not, have that gratitude, have that service and give to the other player and be there for them. And that's ultimately going to help you as an individual become a better player, but a much better person, right? Because you know that you're serving somebody else, and when you need the help, that person's going to be there for you. And that's part of baseball. That's part of life. That's a teaching that it goes beyond anything that we're even doing here right now.
All of this is because it translates into life, whether it's at home, where you work, at school, whatever it is. You're going to have tough moments, and it's how you deal with those tough moments. And going back to what you were saying earlier, I think it makes a huge difference when the parents buy into the overall picture and the overall mission of what we're trying to accomplish with their kids. Mm-hmm. So the parents having that patience as well, and understanding that this is not just one tournament or two tournaments. Like, there's what we're trying to do with them is develop them like properly and like truly develop them. Again, not just as a ball player, but as a human, okay? In terms of their emotional IQ and how they process certain things and how they externalize themselves when there's something that doesn't go how they want. Because it's very easy to pout. It's very easy to, toss the helmet, curse, and wish that, X hadn't happened. But the whole purpose or one of the main things here is hone in on what just happened. Be present, be aware. How do you prepare yourself for that next at bat? How do you prepare yourself for that next meeting, for like any of these things? Because these kids are eventually going to grow up. And it's coaching, using sports as a way to develop humans. I think it's one of the best things that you could possibly do, especially a sport like baseball, where 7 out of 10 times you're not going to get a hit and you're still going to end up in the Hall of Fame. But that's the way that life is.
Yeah, some of the things as we're here and we've heard in past interviews, coaches talking about what they look for in a player. The faster we get that type of sense.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. I got to get this playlist.
It's a good playlist, right?
Great playlist. Can they hear it?
I hope they're hitting a lot of bumps.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Oh, that's
out.
gone.
That's gone.
That's gone.
Was that scoreboard?
Gone.
Scoreboard?
Oh, that kid hit that like 360.
Give him a little more. 390.
All right, 380. All right.
Let's see.
So again, instilling the confidence, instilling that positive energy is very, very important. And then having that combination of understanding, hey, what is the next level looking for, right? And that's the type of player that we want to inspire them to be, even at an early age, right? You're not going to see these kids throwing a helmet. You're not going to see these kids throwing a bat. You're not going to see any of that, right? So making sure that, if you're at home, if you're a parent and you see your kid, and I know it's a struggle, and we're there to help you out, because we know that it's part of the process. But the more you start teaching them, hey, this is what you got to get to, is going to be the best route for you to get your kid to be the best person and human and growth that they're going to have both on and off the field. You know, I want to touch base on something. You know, my parents really with me, they always told me, hey, we want you to get an education. We want you to get an education.
Same. That was priority.
And again, I you know, and I say this, you know, to my kids and to my wife. When I did get to school, I did get that education. I felt like my mission was accomplished, right? So I felt happy that I had gotten to that level because I made my parents proud. But now that I think back on it, it's like, hey, man, did I reach the limit? Did I shoot for high enough? And again, this is what we're instilling. This type of level is what we're instilling at 11 years old. And that is going to continue because we got to push boundaries. We got to push limits. There's going to be ups and downs, but you don't ever quit. We don't ever quit on a team. You don't ever quit on yourself as an individual, because we're going to instill so much confidence in these kids that they're going to run through a wall if they have to, for their friends, for their teammates. And that's the last kind of topic that I'll let you talk about that. But the last topic that I want to touch base on is the camaraderie of the teams and the players. But I'll let you talk about what I just discussed. See what your opinions are.
So I've seen they're 11. Started when they were 10, or some of them have been playing for a lot longer. But I have definitely seen the chemistry just take a very nice shape, and the way that they interact with each other, they're loose. In that sense, they're loose. Sometimes a little too loose, all right? We got to lock it in every once in a while. But it's been very nice for them to develop something as basic as that social skill. And I have seen most of the guys pick each other up. I'm not going to name any names because, but I have seen a lot of them pick each other up in crucial moments of the game. And it's been very nice to see them develop that camaraderie on both teams. And I actually got to spend some time here yesterday with the 8U. And I could already tell that there is a nice dynamic and chemistry taking place with them. And I think it's also a testament to the parents as well, because when you have, one thing is to, you go to the practices and then you go to the tournaments, but it's very nice. It's a treat to see even after the tournament, because we got a chance to. That's
what I was going to touch base on.
To spend some time at one of our parents, one of the kids' parents' house, and it was phenomenal time. Phenomenal. I played basketball with them in the pool. I played soccer. They were, we did the slip and slide, and it's those little things that go such a long way in creating a good chemistry with a team, and you create memories with that, and it's so important.
Albert, and that was what I was gonna touch base on. Using technology. I know that we have mixed reviews on technology, but there's some technology out there that I wish I had, right? Like going on an iPad and being on a chat and being with 10 of your buddies, like talking at home, and all of a sudden I'm there in the kitchen, I'm helping my wife with dinner, and Dylan comes over and he's like, "Hey, Bobby, somebody wants to say hi to you," and it's like 8 guys saying, "Hey, coach, how are you?" That's
it's
man,
awesome.
that's
that is so
like,
great, man.
That hits me so deep, right? So one of those things that I want to relay across to you guys is, as us, right, as adults, our time has passed. We've gone through it, seeing those tiny little details, and
it may have passed, but I still want to take BP down there.
We'll go down.
We're gonna go. All right.
So seeing those kids and the amount of fun that they have with one another. man, I wish I could go back and do it myself. So many guys where, probably even forgot their names, but well, we did all of that with, and that's one thing where I want to lay the message of, hey, if things aren't going the way that you want to see them at, whether it's 6 through 12, just look or beyond, right? Whenever you do have the ability to control what your kid plays, who your kid plays with, and who he has around, the parents around them, make sure you look at your kid and see how happy they are, right? Don't be that parent. Don't be that parent that all of a sudden says, oh, my kid's not playing this, my kid's not playing that, and I got to take him out of this team. Or don't be the coach that, all of a sudden says, oh, we got to win more games at, 9, 10 years old. So we got to get better players and change this team around and let go of these kids because they're not good enough. You're affecting lives, right? You're affecting lives. And just seeing your kids, seeing my kids, seeing the rest of the boys that I consider mine, just at night, on a random night, just talking to one another and going through life together, that means so much to me as a parent, as a coach, and it should mean the same to everybody. So make sure that you make the decisions that you make out there based on what's best for your kid, because if you take that away from them, there's a lot of things that you're taking away from them and you're not even noticing it. And again, if one thing should have shown you from this podcast is that from day one, to now, we're all connected, right? All the people that we've brought on the show, somehow we've had a connection to them one way or another. Whether it's there's always a tie somewhere, right? And a lot of times there's a lot that happens in youth sports that could be attributed to those ties.
Yep.
And what you take away now you have no idea, just because you're trying to give them a better opportunity on the athletic side or whatever it is that you think you're trying to give them, you're taking so much away from them from inside, right? Because there's some kids that could be their best friends for the rest of their lives, and you just don't know if you're taking that away from them.
And as parents, and I know very, very well that your decisions, the decisions that you make with your kids, are in their best interest. That is parenting 101. I think that it needs to be stressed that when you are making a decision for your kid, take an extra step and really think about, do I really want to take this? Do I really want to take my kid out of this team because of X or Y reason? How is that going to, again, impact them? What message are you relaying to your kid? So, there are situations where obviously, you have to do what you have to do. But at the end of the day, if your kid is on a team that has their development as the number one priority, I think that's a good place to be at. And again, patience, both with the program on and off the field. And I have a message to parents, and it's not so much our team, but I'm very observant, and I've already seen plenty of instances where a kid from another team makes a mistake, and the first place that their eyes go to is mom and dad and coach. I think that we do a very good job at staying even keel and not making any type of crazy antics or anything, but it's a message to the parents. When your kid makes a mistake on the field, when they strike out or whatever happens that is not good, try to keep it together, because I know my kid does that when in flag football games or soccer, or when he was playing baseball, the first person he would look at was me. Keep a poker face. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have one, practice on having one, because it's for the good of your own kid. Because he makes a mistake or she makes a mistake, they look at you and now you're like this, or tossing your hat, or that makes them feel even worse.
Yeah.
You know? So a message to the parents, keep it together for your kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think confidence goes a long way. And that is number one thing. If they're going to be confident at 11 years old and you instill that confidence, and if they work hard, they're going to be successful individuals when they get older. But, you know, you have the responsibility and the ability to give them that confidence or take it away. Don't be the one that takes it away.
That takes it away. And as coaches, when we were talking about this earlier, the feeling the pressure is a privilege. I think that coaching these kids coaching at any level is also a privilege. It's a giant responsibility that you have to take into very serious consideration, making any type of decision.
Absolutely.
And how you express yourself, both physically and verbally, with your athletes, makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And again, not to harp on the same thing, but a player makes a bad play, looks over at coach, and now the coach is, you know, tossing the bucket or you know, going crazy or cursing or whatever it is. And now, instead of, because of that reaction, that external reaction of, wow, now my coach is going to be, when I get in the dugout, what is he going to tell me? Oh my God, I let my team down. Now you go from that. And if your coach is, hey, you got the next one, pick it up or shake it off or whatever it is. Now you're actually, oh, okay. I mean, it would happen to me, I'm sure it happened with you. Now you're much more quick to forget the colossal mistake that you just made.
It's funny. I got a nice little story that I got to share.
Story time.
I got kicked out of a game the other day. You know it, right? So second time ever being thrown out. It was in a tournament. So you know, we get squeezed on a call. We have been getting squeezed for a while, right? So I don't like, you know, balls and strikes. The 2 times that I have been thrown out, it's been balls and strikes, right? So I know not to argue balls and strikes. So I walk up to talk to my pitcher, and you know, I start mumbling that I'm like, hey, from afar, like I'm stepping on the line and I'm looking at my pitcher. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it. That was not a ball. That was a strike. So I go back to see the video, and as soon as I said that, the umpire starts walking, right? So
Porque le buscaste la lengua.
yeah, of course. I knew that was going to happen. So I kept on repeating it, you know, louder. Hey, that wasn't a ball. So the umpire immediately comes up and he goes, well, that was a ball. I'm like, well, it was a ball because you called it a ball because it was a strike. And I'm sure it was a strike. And I'll look at the replay and he's like, no, it wasn't. And then he tells me, oh, I don't, you know, explicit, you know, which came from him. But before he told me that, my catcher comes up to me and he goes, Coach, this guy, the umpire was screaming at me because I asked him, like, hey, I framed that. Like, why was it a ball? And he's yelling at me like, hey, just because you framed it and just because whatever, it doesn't mean that it's a strike. And he got like very verbal with me. So as soon as he told me that, and the umpire starts,
the Papa Bear that we all have as coaches to these kids comes out.
I went crazy.
Yeah.
So long story short, I get kicked out. Next day we go to the game, and the mom comes up to me and she goes, Coach, I got a question for you. Did you call my son my bear? Like your bear? And I'm like, my bear? Like, no. She's like, well, because he told me, he comes up to me and he goes, man, I love my coach. I love Coach Dalen because, man, when he was going at it with the umpire, he said, don't talk to my bear like that. And I was saying, hey, don't talk to my player like that. But he understood my bear. So now, you know, he's been given the nickname, man. My bear. He's my bear. So my bear, love you, bud. All right. So, yeah, I think that's a wrap. We got a couple of things across. Hopefully, you know, you guys are learning from our experiences. We're happy to share them. Not only covering our victories here, we're sharing our
the struggles, man.
The struggles and the defeat and again, just the entire process, the entire grind. and
we'll get over the hump that
we'll get over the hump, and hopefully we could get a lot of the guys with the.
How cool would it be to
I mean, it's coming. It's coming. We'll get there. We'll get there. We had the
8,
same
9
mentality
years from now, and
we had the same mentality of of what these big guys are thinking. So for sure we'll make that happen.
Thank you guys for your continued support. It's really nice. It's a treat, and we're gonna continue doing this.
Yep. So like, subscribe, leave your comments below. We would love to hear your comments. Whatever you think we should be going, we should be doing.
We got a lot of exciting stuff.
We got
coming
some good stuff coming.
Pipe.
Good stuff coming. All right. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you again for your time, and love you guys.
Thank you.